Did you know that according and make paying off your high we are taught from a young age to go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. But what happens after you get the good government job? What's next? How do you build wealth by working a 9-to-5 career/non-career USPS CCA position? How can I leverage my USPS earnings to purchase assets and property? In order to become wealthy, it's important to walk what it is you're trying to manifest. Did you know that according to the largest study of millionaires by Dave Ramsey, only 31% of millionaires average $100,000 or more a year over the course of their career? This stat just shows how obtainable wealth and becoming a millionaire actually is. There's more of an emphasis on money habits rather than yearly income. Additionally, the Ramsey survey highlights how 8 out of 10 millionaires are invested into their company's 401k plan. Now, I know as a USPS CCA, we aren't allowed to contribute to company-based retirement plans, but while working to become regular, there are some vital accounts that both regulars and CCAs, really anyone, should be taking advantage of in order to help build your army of dollar bills. Because in addition, according to the Ramsey survey, 3 out of 4 of the millionaires surveyed also invested into outside company plans. Hey guys, it's Jordan V. Welcome back to my channel, where I'm going to be sharing with you my wealth building journey and how I've been able to build a 5-figure portfolio as a USPS CCA over the course of the last 2 years. I'm also going to be talking about ways to save more of your hard-earned money as a USPS CCA or just a USPS employee in general, and what you can do today, right after liking and subscribing to my channel, to continue on your wealth building journey. So let's get right into it. For starters, it's important to begin with the end in mind and write down your personal roadmap. Think about it. Why are you working? What are your long-term and short-term goals? Do you want to buy real estate, saving for a down payment on a house? Warren Buffett, a successful investment strategist, once said, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." First, visualize your goals and then write them down. Sit down with your bank statements and actually write down your monthly income, expenses, and debt. Is there more month than money? Or is there room or extra money in the budget? Next, I want you to devise a written, realistic plan of action for each category of your financial life. Like, give each category a realistic amount. For example, if you're just starting out, I would recommend with budgeting that you separate out the eating out and grocery categories and then revisit that budget and see how you did after each month accordingly. You'd be surprised at how much money you can save by simply bringing your lunch to work and skipping the Dunkin' Donuts line every day, because literally every dollar counts. If you don't give every dollar that comes into your possession a job, you're more likely to wonder where it went. On to tip number 2. So now that we listed out our debts, expenses, and income and have written down a realistic budget, it is time for tip number 2. Build an emergency fund and automate your savings. Like, pay yourself first. As a USPS employee, I recommend looking into joining your local United States Postal Service Federal Credit Union. Credit unions typically offer lower interest rates compared to commercial banks. In order to join, you can either head over to your local postal credit union with your valid government ID and recent USPS pay stub, or print out the membership application with a copy of your credentials. Family members of postal employees are also eligible to join. One disclaimer that I want to mention is when applying to this credit union is, like other credit unions, a hard interview. But once you become a member, I recommend building a relationship with the credit union by using financial products that are most relevant to your life, like savings accounts, certificates of deposit, etc. They also offer competitive mortgage, student, and personal loan rates. Start building this relationship now, because if your goal is to purchase a house or rental property, you may need a bank approval. Personally, I use my postal credit union checking/savings to allocate funds directly from my check to this account. And I just check it occasionally, but ultimately I just pretend like it isn't there. And I operate my budget expenses out of a totally different bank because it helps to really automate my savings and not get into the habit of transferring funds. You can also change your direct deposit allocation in Postal Ease. USPS employees get a raise every year, and I recommend increasing your allocation to your savings during this time and avoiding lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is when your daily expenses increase with your income. For USPS employees, especially CCAs, I'd recommend increasing your saving and investing during holiday season. And we'll talk more about the investing part a little later in this video. But the first things first. This brings me to tip number 3. Avoid high interest bad debt. Remember, your income is your biggest wealth building tool. So what is high interest debt? High interest debt is any debt above 6 to 10% range. Credit unions in general typically offer lower interest rates compared to commercial banks. Typically, credit cards are among the highest of high interest debt. Credit card companies want you to be bad with your money because that's how they make money off of you. The average credit card interest rate in the United States is 24.53, which cancels all incentives that these companies provide if you're not able to pay them off every month. Another form of high interest debt is auto loans. At the time of filming this video, on average, drivers are spending over $700 and $500 each month for new and used vehicles, respectively, according to the Experian's fourth quarter finance report. $500 per month invested into a low-expense index fund that tracks the S&P 500 for 20 years is about $430,000. $500 per month invested for 30 years is about $1.4 million. These auto loans and credit cards are literally stealing thousands of dollars from you. Every dollar counts. I can't stress this enough. So seriously, go to your local credit union, refinance for a lower interest rate if you can. Make paying off your high interest debt a top priority. Remember that the borrower is always slave to the lender. Again, every dollar counts. Do not underestimate the power of compound interest. Let me ask you this. Would you rather have a penny today that doubled every day for a month or $1 million today? After 30 days, that penny would have turned into $5.3 million. This brings me to tip number 4, investing into tax-advantaged accounts and avoiding fees on your money. For USPS regulars in most situations, investing into the Roth TSP helps to allow your investments to grow tax-free. So when you withdraw the funds at retirement, you don't tax this because the idea is that the contributions that you contributed had already been made with after-tax money. A downside, emphasis on downside, to the Roth option is the fact that you can't defer taxes prior to putting money in. And if you believe that you'll be in a lower tax bracket than you are now at retirement, then it would make sense to consider other options. Important to note that, of course, USPS offers a 5% match, and you want to make sure that you are at the very least contributing 5% to your TSP to receive the full match. I would recommend that all your personal work contributions go to your Roth TSP because that's tax-free growth, and we absolutely love free money. The next question is, which fund should I invest in with my Roth TSP? First off, you then want to stay away from F and G funds. These two funds are tied to treasury and corporate bonds and are low risk but have little opportunity for growth. Your best bet is to invest in C, S, and I funds. It is recommended that you contribute 80% into the C fund, which is tied to the performance of the S&P 500, 10% into the S fund, which includes stocks from small to mid-sized companies that offer high risk and high return, and 10% into the I fund, an international fund that invests in stocks from overseas companies. For CCAs and just USPS employees in general, I would recommend making a Roth IRA outside of the Roth TSP that the post office offers. When choosing a Roth IRA account provider, you want to go with the biggest names like Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab. Once you've created an account, it's important to start investing. I'm more of a passive investor, which means that I tend to go with a 3-fund portfolio. If you want to know my portfolio allocation, leave a like or comment down below, and I'll talk about that in another video. But in general, the ratio of their investments is going to depend on the risk adversity. Depending on your risk adversity. If you are in your 20s and 30s, you're less risk adverse compared to someone who's closer to retirement. If you're in your 20s and 30s, you may want to be more heavily invested into the S&P 500 as opposed to being heavily invested in bonds at the beginning of your career. Roth accounts are such a powerful tool that the government limits just how much money that you could contribute to these accounts each year. USPS employees can now contribute up to $20,500 each year. Those age 50 and older can contribute $27,000. For Roth IRA contributions for tax year 2023, you can contribute $6,500 if you're under the age of 50 and $7,500 if you're age 50 or older. Next, we're going to talk about using taxable brokerage accounts to fund goals with a long-term growth horizon, like planning to purchase a property or just saving up for a down payment on a house. The investment vehicle I've been using as a USPS CCA outside of the post office is a taxable brokerage account. There are no limits to the amount of money that you can put into this account. When choosing a brokerage account provider, you want to go with whoever you may have chosen to host your Roth IRA that we talked about earlier. I say this for the sake of simplicity. So again, the bigger names like Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab. Once you have made a taxable brokerage account, it's time to get investing. Generally, everyday investors don't want to try and beat or time the market. Long-term investing is really set it and forget it or buy and hold forever type of strategy. So now that we've made our account, and what exactly do we invest in? The answer is low-cost ETFs. Each provider, that Vanguards, the Charles Schwabs, the Fidelities, have their own version or group of stocks that mirror the S&P 500. If you want me to make a video about the major account providers and the best low-cost ETFs that they have to offer, comment down below. I personally use Vanguard and invest in the ticker symbol VTI. This is a low-expense ETF that gives exposure to the entire U.S. stock market. I know that the S&P can fluctuate, but overall, the S&P always recovers over the long term. A bonus tip would also be to automate your investing contributions bi-weekly. For example, if your long-term goal is to save for a down payment on a home and you have at least 4 to 5 years minimum horizon, it would make sense to invest that money bi-weekly into a taxable brokerage account in order to reach your goals. Keep in mind that with this account, every tax season you do have to pay taxes on dividends earned that year, as this is not a tax advantage account. But the reason I love this account is because it isn't as liquid as cash, but not as hard to liquidate as property. It helps to save for long-term goals in its own account, so there's no confusion about what the funds are for, all the while getting those dollars exposure to the S&P 500 because of the time horizon you have. Another tool that I found helpful is the Bankrate Taxable Brokerage Account Calculator to show just how much money you stand to make if you consistently make contributions to this account. Remember, guys, begin with the end in mind and know your why. Make a detailed and realistic budget and check back monthly or even more frequently to make sure that your actions are in agreement with your budget. Automate your savings and investing. This is so crucial. Make it like second nature. Dave Ramsey says that personal finance is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior. Live below your means and take advantage of all the benefits with being a USPS employee. And really practice delayed gratification, guys. Like, I know people talk about this a lot, but if you can just think about your future and what your goals are, you'll get there so much quicker. Thank you. If you found this content informative, please like, share, subscribe, send this to a fellow USPS employee that's trying to learn how to build wealth. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for tuning in.